Hi everyone. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. I hope that everyone is doing well, that you've had a wonderful holiday season, and just that it is a hopeful year ahead. So I'm doing it live today, and I'm so excited to have Courtney join us. She's a past graduate, and she's going to share a little bit about her journey, how she found holistic nursing, nurse coaching, and consulting, and what she's doing now, because we'll do after the course. And of course, this can be so unique to everyone. So we really want to. Hi,
Hey, am I here?
you're here. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. So I was just sharing with everyone that we're doing this live and that you so graciously agreed to join us and just to share a little bit about who you are, where you're living, and just how you found, this different avenue of nursing. Because this is a common question we get asked all the time is, why do people take the course, the comprehensive holistic nurse coach and consultant course, and what can you do with it after? And of course, it's such a big question and it's unique for everyone, but hearing from past grads who are, in it and living it, I think is the best way to answer.
Okay, well, that's so I'm Courtney. I live on the east coast of Canada. I live on a beautiful island, Grand Manan, in the province of New Brunswick, so very fortunate. I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for 16, almost 17 years. I have like a variety of clinical experiences from rural emerge to management, nursing practice.
Yeah.
So probably in the 2020-21 time frame, me and one of my very good friends, Jacqueline, who you can also find on Insta, so we were kind of on our own little healing journey, and we didn't know it, but I found the kind through a night shift doom scrolling and became interested in coaching. And probably that's a bit of where we were, looking at more holistically taking care of ourselves, as well as how we were practicing nursing at the time, and just being a little bit frustrated how certain patient care situations played out, wanting to expand and do a little bit more or a little bit different.
Well, it's wonderful. It's funny because we get many people that say that they find us when they're like doom scrolling in the middle of the night, middle of the shift, or something happens and they're like, I Googled something and the kind popped up. And, we're always curious to hear how people find us, and always happy in that way. So we're so glad that you found us, and you were part. Do you want to share what cohort you were part of? Because you just.
I don't really want to share that. So Jacqueline and I both started in cohort 2.
Yeah.
And life happened a couple times. So we both finished around the same time as cohort 6. Yeah. So I guess I'll just throw that out there in case there are any other students who are struggling with real life and getting in your coaching hours and all of that. Like, the extensions did make a difference for us, and glad once we finally finished that we did commit and finish it. Probably would have been better if we had done it right the first time, but here we are.
Well, and I think like you said, though, it's life happens, and that's something that many people experience and, often live through. So just being able to speak to that, when you do join the course, if this is something you're interested in, if life happens, there are extensions and there are ways to fit this into, your lived experience right now, whether you're working full time, you have a family, whatever that situation may look like for you. There's definitely options to do it at a pace that works. And I guess, trusting that timing too of how things unfold, and that you'll have the support to get it done in a way that hopefully, is meaningful and works for you and is flexible.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So since kind of, I guess, graduating, and since you've taken the course, something we often get asked is, how does it impact my career, and how does it impact my personal life? So if there's anything that you want to share just in that regard, in terms of, experiences you've had in your personal life, or how you're integrating this into your career, or what you're creating since, having taken the course.
So I think it's really easy to speak about how it's impacted me personally. I don't know if anyone has read the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle, but in that she says you can't ask someone directions to places they've never been. So I feel like if I'm going to promote holistically taking care of yourself and, you know, starting new habits, breaking some bad habits, some of those, I've really kind of felt that I commit to it myself, which I'm a big proponent of self-care, but anyone who does it knows it's not always easy to stick to your habits. So that's been huge for me, honestly. I feel better. I probably am nicer to some people than I was when I wasn't looking after myself. So that's huge. And professionally, it does. When you care for patients and you look at it from a more holistic angle, it is different when you're able to hold space and listen to their story. And, you know, we often talk about labeling patients as non-compliant, but understand the barriers and challenges that people have to taking care of themselves and trying to help kind of work through that and address it. So that's how it's impacted me personally and a little bit professionally. So I guess this is probably the time where I say also recently started my own independent practice, which is super scary, exciting. So, you know, working one-on-one with clients. Yeah, so that's where it's at. But I also should tell people that I do have a full-time Monday to Friday job. So it's something, you know, if people are concerned about that, you can fit it in a way that works for you and for your life. It's doable.
Absolutely. And I saw so many little hearts pop up when you were speaking about how it impacted your personal life, because I think a lot of people, if you have questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the comments too. We're watching and I'll look for those. But, you know, I think a lot of people can probably relate, right? When we have that accountability to our self-care practice and how that just organically then, you know, moves into our career and into the things and the people around us. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And of course, like you mentioning, you have a full-time career and you're doing this on the side, because that's often, you know, something that people have questions about. If they're interested in starting like a side hustle or an independent practice, sometimes people feel like they have to quit their job or stop what they're doing, but that's not the case. You really don't have to. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about how that experience evolved for you, how you kind of knew that you just wanted to start something on the side, and how that balance is now that you're kind of doing both.
So I switched jobs, and that was one of the life events that kind of happened as I was taking the nurse coaching program. So I'm very fortunate to like genuinely love the Monday to Friday job that I have right now. I'm a clinical nurse specialist in vascular access, so that really like speaks to my inner geek. So I didn't want to give that up yet, or maybe ever. I don't know. But once I experienced being coached, I could really see the value in coaching and helping people. So kind of wanted to offer that as well. And in this job, I don't have the same level of patient contact that I used to. So I do miss that kind of aspect of patient care. So it just worked well for me to be able to kind of, you know, if there's an evening that I'm available to do some coaching, I can. If I have a lot of kids and a job, so if it gets too busy, then it fits where it fits. Yeah. Not really putting too much pressure on right now.
Yeah. And I think that's the beautiful thing, is you get to make it work for you and you get to really fit it into your unique lifestyle. So do you want to share with everyone what your coaching business is currently focused around, or what your focus is, what you've kind of gravitated towards right now?
Yeah, so I started with just general kind of nurse coaching. I was kind of interested in lifestyle coaching, but super excited. Again, on my own personal journey, I did some work around balancing my own hormones. This is a lot on Alive. Which led me down a rabbit hole of functional medicine. So I've recently completed a course through CIINDE and functional medicine nursing. So I'm really excited to be able to bring those kind of consults to clients as well, looking at the root cause of illness and some lifestyle tweaks that people can make to feel better day to day and long term.
Yeah. And, you know, I think it's always really interesting to hear what people have done and how they, continue to find courses or education that really, it's like this course can definitely be a stepping stone to the next one, and really being able to hone in on whatever niche or interest or life experience that people have had. Because oftentimes there's a life experience that brings people to the course, or they have a transformational moment as they're going through the course, and they really get some clarity around, the type of clientele that they may want to work with, or if they're, looking to start a business. So really, it's a lifelong journey, right? When we're looking at that holistic path, as you mentioned, right? We want to be that role model. We have to embody it, live it, and that requires that lifelong path of learning and unlearning, and kind of finding what works for us in the season of life that we're in.
And I know when I was in the program, people would often come in kind of knowing what their niche was and who they wanted to work with and what they wanted to do. And I always felt a little, I don't know what I want to do or if I'm going to do anything. So if people are, feeling like that's a barrier, I don't think I think as through it all kind of plays out as it should.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And you might find individuals, we see such, like you've mentioned, like, Jacqueline, and people find connections and, build relationships where you might have, a really wonderful relationship with someone in the program where you begin to co-collaborate or work with or use as kind of a support system, and you might gain, insight or inspiration from those individuals too. So it's a really great community to be able to, find nurses who are looking for something similar. Like obviously everyone's on a unique journey, but there's really great opportunity for collaboration and for connection. Yeah. So if someone was, just from your experience and what you've kind of been doing now, if someone was looking at this program and wondering, what is holistic nursing? What is nurse coaching? How would you explain that to them? Because sometimes that can be a big concept too. Understanding, and just even in like layman's terms, how you might explain it to your client or like people that you're working with that might be looking for your services.
Yeah, so this is definitely a hard one.
It is.
But I think for me, when I think about holistic nursing, it really feels more like practicing nursing than maybe what I was doing in the traditional allopathic model, which feels a bit more like practicing medicine. Like holistic nursing is really looking at the whole patient, mind, body, spirit, and how everything is really interconnected. And you can't just address one area and not address another. So, just that looking at things through that lens and seeing our patients a bit differently really opens up a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It does.
Right.
Yeah,
I hope.
Absolutely. That's perfect, because it really is, right? We get to look at all of these dimensions of ourselves and of others, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We get to look at the environment, hormones, like you were talking about, whatever the case may be. We get to approach that individual in their unique circumstances. And so we're just really given through this course, through this education, like the tools to be able to utilize that and to kind of tap back into that for what it means for ourselves. And then of course, how we begin to implement that into practice.
It's like, I can remember the first time that I was coached as part of the program and doing, the integrative health and wellness assessment and the section on toxins. And I was absolutely adamant that I was not going to stop cleaning my house with bleach. I would never do that. And then, through coaching and learning, and as time has evolved, I am no longer cleaning my house with bleach. So there's just so much to learn. And I think, I feel like I was probably pretty well informed as a nurse, or would have said I was. But as I've kind of looked into this holistic nursing and keep growing and learning, there's so much to learn that I feel like other people should know too.
Absolutely. And like, I totally resonate with what you're saying, because that's how I felt too, having gone through a traditional, education, like traditional education to get my nursing. I had experienced the healthcare environment, navigating it with patients and some family members. And then it wasn't until I kind of started to explore my own health stuff that I realized that I didn't really have all the information that I could in terms of how to support my health and my healing holistically. And it wasn't until I started to implement, those types of things, looking at my environmental health, like you mentioned, toxins. What is my internal environment? How is my inner dialogue with myself? How is the, the external environment with, relationships in my life? How are all of these things impacting? How's my mental health? My spiritual health, which I didn't really give much attention to. All of these things really played a role into really helping to optimize my health, but it wasn't a conversation that I could have in a more traditional nursing setting, is what I was finding at the time. I feel like we're coming to a place in a time now where people are maybe opening up to that conversation, and it seems to be a little bit more readily, like people are more ready to have that conversation. At least that's just been my experience in the last few years even. But
yeah, I think we have a ways to go still.
We do. Oh, we do, for sure.
But
yes,
it is certainly worthwhile. So
yeah. And that's the wonderful thing. I think if you're watching this and you're curious about the program, or you've taken the program, as we have more and more nurses throughout Canada and internationally that, have taken this program, or maybe just are opening up to this idea of holistic health, wherever you may be in that journey, the more voices, the more education, the more advocacy we can do, is like, that's really when we're going to notice, shifts hopefully in our own health, and then our family health, and then in our community and global health. So it really starts to, have that ripple effect.
I think that's a really important point too, like the effect on nurses ourselves. Like, everybody knows the state of the healthcare system, and probably no one's coming to save us. So if nurses start caring for themselves, maybe we can kind of affect a bit of change and improve things for our patients as well.
Right. Yeah, you said that perfectly, right? It starts with each and every one of us. And just how we show up for ourselves, how we take care of ourselves, and how we get to be leaders, right, for ourselves. Because as you mentioned, no one's going to come and save us. And so being able to invest in yourself, whether that be through education or, investing time or energy into your self-care journey, whatever that may look like for you, for those watching, and for us, that it really does make a difference. And so finding a community and support along the way is also so important, because we know that it gets hard, right? Sometimes we need that accountability. We need that community support. So, yeah. If there's anyone that's looking to take this course, like, do you have any words of like insight, wisdom, just anyone that might be on the precipice of?
Oh, I think thinking about it and considering it, that's probably a sign that you should do it, even if it's taking you longer than you might plan. And not be too intimidated. I can remember getting the syllabus and being overwhelmed by the amount of coaching hours and trying to figure out, but as we already talked about, there are ways to make it work with a crazy busy life with lots of kids and a job. You can fit those in, and it will change your life personally, professionally. Your relationships, everything will likely improve if you commit and put the work in. I mean, there's always that caveat as well, right?
Yeah, totally. Kind of get out of it what you put into it, so to speak, too. So, but it is, right? It's really that opportunity to, if you're considering it, it might be that sign that you're ready for something. You're ready to dive in, to invest in yourself, to invest in your health, your well-being, and you just never know, like, the ripple effect that might have in the other areas of your life. And we had a student here just recently say that the homework is almost like the homework makes her do the self-care that she's been putting off in other areas, right? So it's like that homework is actually things that she had been wanting to do for herself, but that she had constantly, pushed off for, other people or work or career. So she was like, this is actually forcing me to implement these skills. And sometimes it just takes that to break a pattern, to form a new habit and to begin those habit stacking.
Yeah. And this self-reflection, really looking at, okay, what do I need to be doing actively every day to nourish myself? It is different for everyone, but just to have that opportunity that the course gave us to take time and think about what we really need and incorporate that. Yeah, it's huge.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing your journey and like sharing like the real aspects of like sometimes the challenges, right? Because those are the things that we see so many like people like have questions about or experience themselves. So you're right, we're all humans still moving through this. It's not meant to be done perfectly. It's, you know, imperfectly perfect. It is just what it is in the moment that you might be considering to take it, right? And in the time frame. So yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share with us before
Um,
your journey?
I don't think so. I think stay tuned.
Yeah.
Friend Jacqueline, I think she's on Insta as this functional nurse. I think we're going to brainstorm and have some upcoming joint offerings in the new year. So excited to, you know, that's a huge blessing too, to have one of your very good friends on the journey with you. So everybody find a friend and jump on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Find a friend and jump on. And as you said, I was going to ask, like, if you had any hopes or desires for 2024. So
yeah, so certainly I'm all fired up about functional medicine nursing right now. So probably more education around that. Hoping to write my certification exam in nurse coaching to become board certified, and as well working with Jacqueline, kind of growing ComCs a little bit.
Yeah.
Excited, and we'll see what 2024 has in store.
Yeah, it feels like an exciting year. A lot of transformation, a lot of exciting things on the horizon. So if you do have things that come up, share them with us and we'll share them with everyone here. And for those who may not be aware, if you do take the program, you are eligible to sit for your holistic nursing board certification exam and your nurse coaching board certification exam. So you do have about 3 years once you have completed the course to take those exams. So wishing you the best of luck on those exams. I'm sure you'll do wonderful, and it'll be, yeah, an exciting next step so to take as well. Yeah. Well, thank you, Courtney, so much. And the Instagram handle, like I know it's up here right now, but in the comments as well, so that you can go follow along and ask if there's any questions, and just if you have contact information or your website too, you can, if you want to put it in the chat in a little bit once the video is posted, so that people can find you that way and just kind of see what you're up to as well. So
Sure.
Yeah, wonderful.
Hey.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you everyone for joining. That was wonderful. And if you have any questions for us, let us know.
Okay.
Yes, see you. Have a good night.
Bye.